All right, all right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom. Sister Deborah, this evening, coming with an awesome message this evening. And I have a guest speaker here, AKA Quiet Storm, AKA Quiet Storm. This is Joseph, my son, uh, one of my sons, and he's joining us today. He's our guest speaker. And we are here to talk about why would the Most High allow things to have taken place in time past. So we're going to cover several uh, things regarding this because Joseph's going to bring forth, okay, what many people and how many people feel about the Most High Yah and how we serve Him and how we see Him versus how they portray Him in their own understanding. They believe that He's one way, if He's really that way, or if He even exists. All because we believe and they believe not. So they have their own way of seeing an unseen God versus a seen. And they think they win us over in what we believe because the majority of people have the same belief in which Joseph is going to talk to us about and we're going to speak about. Okay, Joseph, you think you want to start from here?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to start with what me and my wife started reading as far as Noah
Mm-hmm.
and the
Can
flood,
it
the
your
great flood.
mic is it way up? Can you hear?
Yeah, yeah,
Give me a thumbs up, anyone, if you could hear us. Anyone. Okay.
yeah. Hopefully, you guys could hear. Uh,
Yeah. You
well,
ready?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, we started reading Noah, and basically reading about the great flood and whatnot. And my wife asked a question pertaining to the world, the rest of the world that wasn't on that ark, and including the animals. And basically, what she was asking about is, or what she asked was, what about the animals that didn't make it on the ark, and what about the people? So we have people, women,
Mm-hmm.
children, babies, men of all ages. And she basically asked the question that a lot of other people ask as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in this situation, but in a lot of other calamities that happen,
Mm-hmm.
throughout history and throughout the world. How could a just God allow this to happen? How could a righteous God allow this to happen? How could God be good? How could God be this? How could God be that? And allow all these things that we, as man would qualify as bad, happen if he's all powerful or if he's all good or all righteous. And so I just thought that was a important talking point because a lot of people do ask those questions and they cast this judgment on God
Mm-hmm.
based off of what we perceive as good and what we perceive as bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they cast this false judgment on him and either state he doesn't exist because X, Y, and Z, or either he's not all good or
Mm-hmm.
he's not all powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious on what are your thoughts on people that would have that mindset, because not only this situation, they would bring up, for example, oh, God is for slavery, huh? Because he allowed that to happen and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God is for killing children because Abraham was uh, willing to do that as far as God's command. And they would bring up Sodom and Gomorrah. There was women and children there.
Mm-hmm.
They would bring that up. Oh, how is God good
Mm-hmm.
if he's killing all these people? And so I was just curious on your thought on people that have that mindset and try to cast that judgment on God.
Mm-hmm. Would you think that majority people have that same viewpoint?
I would think so. Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
I think so too. I think he's making a big statement and an excellent point that many people feel this way regarding the Most High being all knowing, all powerful, all merciful, all gracious. But yet, on the other hand, they have nothing to hold firm to that he is all that outside of what has been written for them to learn and to understand who he is. It's a amazing how they could take out all of the things that they see fit that's evil and bad and wrong regarding this creator, but they see not all the things that they hold him liable for doing, and he's an all-knowing. It's like, who to tell he that created all things what to do or what is his? This is what they don't understand. They don't understand that he created everything. It's like telling the one that created all things, hold up, you're to feel this way when you create it. If you want to remove it or destroy it, you have to have something that makes sense to our understanding of why would you want to be one way as we see you and we're not able to see, not we, but people are not able to see and understand that you can't control the one that created everything. Who's to say to the he that created all things, well, you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. You know, why would you do it this way? And why would you do it that way? Even us, we don't want even our children questioning even things we say. What do we tell them to do? You do what I say, not as what is it? You do what I say, but not, what's that saying? How we tell the kids, do what I say,
but not as I say.
No, you do what I say, but not what I do, or something like that. It's an old saying. You know how we always use that, even toward our own children. But when it comes down to he that created the beginning and the end, what they fail to realize is that if he is, which he is, the beginning and end, how must he set up the end if he's the one that created the beginning? If he created the beginning and the end, must it be his will and his way of how it must go according to the beginning to the end?
What is that verse? The potter of the clay.
Yes, it's also that as well. He is the potter of the clay, and he causes one to go one way and the other one to go another. But who's to say, as it states, who's to say what to do, what the potter do with his own clay?
Right.
And I think because people are more so like in this mode of atheist mindset, and they tend to lean toward ways to make him non-existent. So how they feel fulfilled is when they are able to question you. Well, why is he like this? If he's not, I mean, if he's this, why is he like this? Or why is he doing this? If he's merciful, or he's so gracious and he's so loving and he's so kind, why do he allow these things to happen to women and children? When he see women and children, don't forget, we're dealing with a spiritual. He don't see them as we see them. He see them as angels that he sent down, spirits that he sent down, and each and every last one of them, he knew them before he sent them down. You see? So everything is from the level of the kingdom. And that's one place that they can't touch the rim of. So they can touch the rim of our understanding. And that's what they're doing. They pouring hot water on people so that they could never see the Most High above us, or being an all-knowing, all-powerful, and being in control of any and everything and being the potter over the clay.
And so, do you think also with that, um, in all honesty, a lot of people read the Bible
Mm-hmm,
and read just like we read,
mm-hmm,
and their perception of what or how to define good and evil is just totally wrong, to where when God does act in such a fashion, in what and how we perceive evil and good and bad. For example, if I go do something, let's say murder someone, of course we're going to see it as bad. But if God does it for whatever purpose or for whatever reason, do you think they're reading it like from a worldly perspective, to where they're casting a worldly perspective on God and why he did it, and the purpose of why he did it? Or do you think it's something else other than that?
I think it's because they're seeing out the eyes of the flesh.
Right.
When you only see out the eyes of the flesh, you can see anything. Because seeing out of the eyes of the flesh is like seeing in darkness.
I hope that question made sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because really, actually, when we see out of our natural eyes,
Yeah.
it's like seeing in darkness.
You know what's a good example of that?
What is?
And I think you brought it up before, is when Christ was working through Jesus,
Mm-hmm,
and no matter where he went, it would be philosophers, chief priests, scribes.
mm-hmm,
When he speak, they would misinterpret it and accept it in a worldly manner, to
mm-hmm,
where, for example, when he was in the temple, and and God said he will rebuild the temple in 3 days.
mm-hmm,
We all know Jesus Christ meant spiritually,
mm-hmm.
but they took it as a worldly defining of, or a worldly
How
description
can
of
it?
his,
Mm-hmm,
or worldly action,
mm-hmm.
in which he would physically build this temple in 3 days, which also gave them the misunderstand or misinterpretation of what he was actually speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about a physical building. He was talking about the body,
Mm-hmm.
the
Exactly,
spiritual, yeah, the
exactly.
spiritual
And that's
body
how it
stuff.
is today in the mindset. But this is what really turns me inside out. The majority of people who question the authority,
Hmm.
the power, the grace and mercy, the give and gave he is, the kindness, and the one that would take his breath and give it at the same time. You see what I'm saying? They question all of that because it's coming from a standpoint of the spirit.
Hmm.
It's not coming from the standpoint where the flesh shall understand it. Even when the flesh do wrong, it itself sometimes can't even understand why it does the things that it does. So the flesh don't have the order, nor the power, nor the authority to question anything in the spirit. Because when they do that, all they doing is questioning, really trying to bring down the spirit realm, because that's the only thing that's going to stand eternal.
Hmm.
See, that which we judge and we measure the Most High out of, it only stands temporary. And it's because we are unbelievers, unrighteous, unjust, atheists, and it's only there for a minute. And it leaves and never returns.
Hmm.
But who the Father is, in his mercy and his grace and his power and his wrath, his anger. We want to have anger. We want to do all the things that we do,
Hmm.
but we tend to say that what he does is switch. He don't know what he want to do. One minute he wants to allow one to die. Next minute he wants someone to be born. What kind of creator is that? So really they are battling with the ideal of who he is, and that his power extend to the level of being and doing anything that he chooses and chose to do. We as the flesh, we don't have that authority. We don't have that power. We don't even have the mind. We don't even have the ear to hear the way this creator has created everything and has orchestrated everything. We're still living on the flesh, and the flesh is going to always have its understanding. And it's totally as the South is to the North of who the creator is.
Mhm.
I mean, they are long ways, and their job is to make sure they get everybody to go through the gate in which they believe.
Yeah. And I know you spoke on, you read Ecclesiastes and spoke on vanity and vax
Mm-hmm.
and the purpose of things,
Yeah,
and basically how everything has a purpose, and
exactly.
that's regardless of whether me and you sit here with comprehension of that purpose or not.
Or not.
The truth is, whether we understand the truth or know the truth is going to be the truth regardless,
Mm-hmm.
of who has it or who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to like the people of the flood that died during the flood, you also made the statement, if I'm not mistaken, whether you live a day or whether you live 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
what does that amount up to? Whether you live, this long or that long,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to spend the eternity in hell.
That's it.
And so, and that means everything on earth that can't add value to you making it to heaven is what?
Vain and
Nothing.
vax.
Vain and vax.
Worthless.
And
Mm-hmm.
so going back to those people, and the people that read this story about Noah, and they focus on the people dying and whatnot, what would you say to those people that think in that manner? Would you say whether they lived, like you said, a day or 1,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
what is God focused on? What is his purpose behind that situation there? Is it because regardless of whether, like we said, you live 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
what's 1,000 years minus eternity in hell? It's
It
it's
can't be
nothing. It's
weighed.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing.
It's
It's
nothing.
nothing. So, and that's what I would say to people that focus in on that, is that, yeah, to us, those are kids, to those are babies, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that, the spiritual part, which is what he's focused on, that is what,
It's
yeah,
it's what is determined in. But when you're speaking of, you said if the child was a day old versus a,
yeah,
a
yeah,
in a
and
sense, regardless.
regardless, yeah,
But it's where you spend eternal.
yeah, and
Okay, so just think of that: a child born of a day old versus someone who's lived, let's say, 1,000 years.
mm-hmm,
Look who controls that,
mm-hmm.
the beginning to the end. Who gave that child that one day? Who gave that individual that 1,000 years?
And to us, like I said, going back to whether we know the truth or not, or the truth, or whether we know the actual purpose behind this or that,
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand that God knows that purpose. He has a purpose, and he knows that truth. He knows, him. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And when we look at this, and we look at this baby, passed away due to the flood, and it's quote unquote because God is evil, or how the world wants to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that baby, was this baby spiritually? Was this spiritual being within inside this baby actually more than a day old versus the flesh being just a day old? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's more than a day old, because Judas, he sat at the table and he traveled with the Messiah. And when Judas betrayed the Messiah, Peter asked Yeshua HaMashiach, "What about Judas? What's the deal with him?" And he said, "It would have been better had he not been born."
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you are born, you are sealed with the order of the will of the Father in you already. You see? So if you come here a day or you be here 1,000,000 years,
Yeah.
your eternal destiny is sealed once you receive that first breath.
And so, and then it's safe to say, in one scenario, the baby is 1 year old, 1 years old, he
Mm-hmm.
dies at 1 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And in another scenario, it's a baby that grows up to be 50 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he dies at 50 during the flood.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what age, if this individual isn't, written in the book of life, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
um, regardless of whether he lives this amount of time to this amount of time, it still amounts up to what? Eternity in hell, right?
If exactly, if that's the destiny. First,
yeah,
we
right.
have to understand in the kingdom is only spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no age.
Right.
There's no male. There's no female. There's no black. There's no white. There's no Republicans. There's no Democratic. You see? So that's the whole ideal of when we communicating with people, we have to understand that you can't communicate with people that are dead. They're dead in the understanding because they came here to the earth from their mother's womb, took that breath of life just to live dead in understanding spirit and truth. They are dead when it come down to spirit and truth. That means they're not going to understand the spiritual realm. It's not given unto them to understand the spiritual realm. So therefore, they are the ones that lead the multitude through the broad gate. It is said that there's two gates. One is a narrow and one is a broad. Those that come down here that question the Most High is individual who are already dead in spiritual understanding. So you can speak to them for 1,000,000 years and it don't mean anything because they're already dead when they get here, meaning they come down here to play a role, like in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. He said that the serpent going to have his seed, and the spiritual seed is the woman. So we're dealing with a spiritual seed and a serpent seed. All the serpent seeds are dead. They dead to truth. They dead to the light. They dead to what is spirit. They dead to who the creator is. They are dead to it. So there's no understanding to them. We're going to hear a tape, and I'm going to play it so you all can hear it, so you can hear where Quiet Storm is actually coming from in this message. And he's not teaching, but he's telling us that this is how majority of people think. So we're about to you ready?
Yep.
We're going.
Okay, so this is a video of Tyson, or Neil Tyson. He's a scientist, a well-known scientist or physicist, and he's speaking. He speaks a lot. He does a lot of public speaking as well as a lot of debates. He has spoken about why he doesn't believe in God, and spreading false narratives and his beliefs behind why God doesn't exist. And so I'm going to play this short clip. It's about 30 seconds of him basically sharing what a lot of philosophers before him asked. And here we go. Hold on one sec.
Do you believe in God?
Me?
Creator?
Yeah, so I'm the more I look at the universe, just the less.
Can you all hear that?
That there is something benevolent going on. So if your concept of a creator is someone who's all powerful and all good, that's not an uncommon pairing of powers that you might describe to a creator.
Someone see it.
All powerful and all good. And I look at disasters that afflict Earth and life on Earth: volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, disease, pestilence, congenital birth defects. You look at this list of ways that life is made miserable on Earth by natural causes. And I just ask, how do you deal with that? So philosophers rose up and said, if there is a God, God is either not all powerful or not all good.
And so basically that was the little short clip of a longer conversation that he had with an interviewer pertaining to, and basically in that instance, he was speaking to interviewer explaining why he feels that God isn't all good or either isn't all powerful if he was to believe in God. And he was basing that off of his definition of bad and good, which in the clip, he defined the natural disasters as well as birth effect as reasons why God is bad or either not all powerful.
Mhm.
And so, even though he is a scientist and he's a physicist, there are a lot of people that do look at the story of the Great Flood and other stories as well, and other things that happen within the Bible that we would deem as people here on Earth that would deem as bad, without under a full understanding of the purpose behind it.
Mhm.
And usually, the world creates its own definition of things, and to fit its own narrative or its own agenda, to make it seem like God is the bad one.
Mhm.
Either he doesn't exist, or he's not who you say he, or he's not who he say he is.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the major reasons why I think this is a good talking point to earn out, especially when or especially when it's coming from an individual that that don't know God,
Mhm.
and
So would you say that this is the same mindset of many people in this world? They think like this scientist. Now, you all have heard of him. His name is O'Neill Tyson.
O'Neill deGrasse Tyson.
Tyson.
He's well
Okay.
known.
And I'm sure you all have heard of him. And he's a melanated man. But what he believes and what he thinks, we know don't mean a rat's behind. We know that. But what he's saying is this is the mindset of the many people in this world. They have that same mindset, and they need to. When you dead, you're dead. No matter what your mind thinks, what your mind feel, or what your mind understand, you're dead. You dead in your talking, you dead in your walking, you dead in your thinking, you dead in your feeling, you dead in your speaking, you dead in your looking. You just straight up from the floor up dead. And you are created to bring division. Because if you dead and you are the dark, you're supposed to bring division amongst the living, you see, and amongst the light. So, like I explained to you all, Satan has truly won his mission, deceiving the whole world. Because, like Quiet Storm is saying, a lot of people think like this. They think and they see things in this way. And with me, I'm just so grateful that I'm able to not only walk, talk, live, feel in the spirit, because that separate me from even entertaining people who are not where I'm at. You see? So because it's like in this end days, it ain't time to hear the dark. It's time to hear the light. It ain't time to even desire the words of the dead. The dead is dead. And this is why they speak. But the key to it, this topic that we're talking about is how is it we holding the Most High liable for all the wicked and evil we're doing down here? Why haven't we took on that? We're talking about disasters and hurricanes and earthquakes and all these things that the Creator is allowing it. It's happening because we are wicked and evil. It's not so much as what he's allowing, it's what our energy and our spirit is doing. What about all this stuff that we as human beings are doing on this earth? He's not telling us to do this. We're choosing to do what is in us. Dead things, dark things, evil things, wicked things. And people who does things like that, they're going to always try to find room to blame the light, those who are not doing it. So this is why all the things that's taking place here on the earth, if we look at the Most High as one that needs to be doing something about all this stuff that's happening, look like he should start with us. Yeah. Humans, flesh, men and women. He needs to start with us because we're the one let me tell you something. When you speak of the hurricanes and how the things of thunder and lightning and earthquakes and all of these going on, these things going on, okay? What about the things that we are in as a human, we that are human, what about the things that we continue to do that's wicked and evil? We can see the things that's happening in the world, but what we don't understand, the sea, the wind, the ground obeys. The sun, the moon, the stars, everything obey the order of the Most High Yah, except for flesh and blood, humans. So how is it that everything that takes place from storms and hurricanes and all of these, they're doing that out of the order? The Most High is causing an order for them to do that. But first and foremost, before he caused the wind to blow and the sea to roar, guess what? He called us to do what is righteous. Have we done it? No. But we question his power to show his anger toward the way we conduct ourselves. If we had any sense, we'll understand that his reaction to allowing it to happen is a reaction to show us that he's disappointed in us and that our wicked and even our wrongdoing is going to affect the world. Instead of letting us just live, continue doing everything against him and against each other. We're not doing it against just the Most High. We're doing it to each other.
Yeah, and to add to that, also, we could say a tornado come, and we both pass away in that tornado. If you're doing what you're supposed to, or if you have that relationship with God and you're on your way to heaven, whether you died in that tornado or not, isn't that what he's focused on? Is that spiritual being inside of you, to where we could say, if you do survive and you live 10 plus years after, whether you died there or not, you made it.
Yeah,
you made it. You're a saved child of God. So whether you die today or tomorrow, isn't that the part that is to be valued?
That's what's written.
Versus saying, living long here on earth is what a lot of people's goal is. But really, with the time you have, what are you doing with it? Are you wasting it? Are you giving your attention to other things, other gods, as well as spending time watching TV versus building that relationship with them? And so even when we talk on that or speak on that, to a lot of people that do take that approach of, oh, God isn't all good, God isn't all this, what are you doing to contribute to where you're at and where you will end up at internally? And so even to the point of saying, natural disasters, you as a child of God can sit here and say, if God take my life right here in this moment, I'm okay with that. Because all that matters is what you put forth, as far as, I think he had a verse speaking on put towards your treasure in heaven versus
on the
earth. If you're doing that, why would you be why would your goal be to prolong your life here on earth? And so if your goal is to do that versus everybody else's focus, which is the game here
on
earth, and call that living or call that the purpose, how can you speak to these natural disasters and put it on a scale of good or evil, when natural disasters, they happen, to us as a human, it's bad, it caused a lot of destruction, yada yada yada, but that's not to be compared to the destruction you contribute to the damnation,
right,
that you put on your spirit, and and to others, spreading lies and misinterpretation, mismessaging, and stuff like that. And so that's how I look at it. I don't
Mhm.
even put natural disasters on the scale of good or evil.
No,
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's
That's
just like
that's not a determining factor on where you go or where you end up or what
Mhm.
what you do. So, and that's how I look at it. And when I hear the scientists speak of that and many others
Mhm.
speak in that manner, you got to look at again what most likely you don't understand, what the
Mhm.
bigger picture is,
Mhm.
what the purpose is behind these things. And even with slavery, a lot of people will look at slavery and say, yeah, God, he's not who he say he is because he allowed this.
Mhm.
If he's all powerful and all good, he should have stopped it and whatnot.
Mhm.
And they say that without knowing the purpose behind it. Because I remember the story of Joseph.
Mhm.
And at the end of that story of how he explained he meant it for good.
That's
And
it.
good did come. The purpose of that story was fulfilled, or the reason behind that was
Mhm.
fulfilled.
Mhm.
And granted, a lot of people that wasn't on the path to make it to heaven, period, whether
Mhm.
they live this long or that long,
Mhm.
they played their part in a worldly manner, um, in doing what they're doing. But granted, the greater scheme of things, he purposed Joseph to go through that for a reason
Mhm.
and to come out of that for a reason. And he placed them where he placed them.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And they focus on the worldly aspect, like the people in the Bible did,
Mhm.
and then never came to the understanding of the actual purpose and understanding why God operates the way He does.
Mhm.
And so, I guess I also want to get at, if you don't have anything to add to what I just said, do you feel like, and you probably do, but I'll let you speak to it. A lot of people, they pretend to understand God, and even in the midst of claiming that they understand God, they misrepresent God. I'm pretty sure you know of many cases, or you've been in many situations where people would claim they know you, they know of you, but they don't know you,
That's right.
and they misrepresent you, they
Mhm.
misinterpret you, and perhaps they're explaining you to somebody else in a false manner in which they thought they knew you,
Mhm.
but they don't really know
They
you.
really don't.
Would that be the same case with God? A lot of people also, not there's some people out there purposely degrading or misleading people to disbelieve God, but there's also people actually feeling like they know God, but they really don't know Him.
Yeah.
And so, in that same fashion, do you think that's the case with a lot of people as well?
Yeah, because I believe I'm a true believer in the broad gate and the narrow gate. And
Uh-huh.
I believe that the majority of people are going through the narrow gate even as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going through the narrow gate unhappy. They're not going through the narrow gate mad. They're not going through the narrow gate upset. They're going through the narrow gate with a smile on their face and they happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going there because they see the mass, the multitude going in that direction. But they're going in there dead.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through the narrow gate with no light. They're going through the narrow gate with no spirit and truth. You see, when the saddest thing is heaven and earth is going to pass away. And it's not going to pass away without the will of how He orchestrated everything to go from the beginning to the end and everything in between. He's not measuring things based on who's in the broad gate, who's in the narrow gate,
Mm-hmm.
who's righteous, who's unrighteous. He's basing it on His own will. It's His will. No matter whether we have a storm and a million pass away in the storm, He controls the storm and He controls the breath that a million had.
Mm-hmm.
When we understand that He has all power on any and everything, even the power to make one way, like the powder and the clay, and to make another one another way. We as people, if we could focus on really who we are,
Mm-hmm.
like He said, judge yourself daily, that no man may judge you, because He wanted you to judge yourself in the spirit, and He wants you to judge yourself with your spirit, and Him in your spirit. Judge yourself daily, and then therefore you can judge your flesh. But what people are doing is they finding just reason to put him as low can be, because it's over. It's finished. All of the scientists that's on the earth were created and was formed by the Roman Catholics and the Jesuits and the fake ooze. They created education. They created colleges. They created sororities. They created every religion on this earth, and they created every denomination, every belief on this earth. And this is what even the scientists they created. So therefore, they are that 1% that rules the four corners. They've been hands off because the Creator allowed hands off of them so they can do what they are coming down to assist Satan to do, and they doing it to the fullness. So when we speak of scientists in this world, you're subject to not even have one that believe in a creator, because they can't use the deception of their education and their deception of how the world is, what is here, and how I get here, and how this is this, and how this is this. They can't use it. But the only way they can use it through deception. But they got to cancel out the creator, who is the opposite of what they are, the deception. They are the deceivers. So they don't have any choice but to cancel out any type of spiritual being that rules it and rule them. They don't have no other choice. It's in them to cancel him out and to get as many as they possibly can to cancel out and blame him for everything that's happening. Even they can turn around and blame him for AI, even though they created AI. They can blame him for all the sex trafficking and the organs transporting and the children being missing. They'll blame him for all of that, because he stands high and look low and already know what he got down here that's invested in him. That's all he's concerned about, is the ones that are invested on this earth.
Which is why he saved Noah.
That's what happened to Noah. Now, as he saved Noah, you have to understand what he said. He said, every imagination of their thoughts, now just imagine that, was evil and wicked continually. Just imagine that. Well, that's what you see today. Because do you understand that today is worse than Noah? Do you understand that? He said today is a day like no other. So even though we're in a time period, and what he means, dark, wicked, evil, murdering, lawlessness, his wrath, his judgment, and he's allowed the principality that was in the air battling, he allowed them now to be on the earth, and they can do whatever they want. And if people are caught trying to play in the broad gate and not trying to find the narrow, you might not make it in. Just like I was explaining to you all yesterday, it's like going way out in the deep sea. And when you out there, because somebody led you out there to believe the deception, you can't even see dry land. So it's all about everything that's going on. I want you to understand, it is the war that came out of the heavens, and this is what you see on the earth. He said, we fight not against what? Principalities. We fight not against flesh and blood.
Right.
He's letting you know this is beyond your flesh. It is your spirit that's fighting the war and fighting in this war. Why? Because one spirit is like unto dead, and the other spirit is like unto life or living. So this is where the real war is. While we're thinking the war is what we see and we believe. Just like these scientists, believe it or not, they know that there is a creator that existed. They know that he's all powerful. They know that he's all knowing. And they know that they are under the mighty hand of who he is. They know it, but they got to deceive you not to believe it. That's what Satan come down to do, is deceive the whole world. Can he deceive some of the world? No, he has to deceive the whole world. But now that he has mastered his position, from what I see from the wilderness, is where people are at now, ain't got nothing to do with Satan.
Mhm.
This is people acting out who their spirit is. Because the war is in the spirit. And people are down on this earth acting out their spirit. And they cannot stand spirit and truth. They cannot stand the light, because the light is they feel threatened by spirit and truth in the light. Do you know that everybody who, like you were saying, that they say that they serve the Most High and they believe in the God, do you know they are out here teaching and preaching and been doing it for 30, 40 years. They've been in mega churches. They got big churches. They got big members. I mean, a large number. They got all of this, and they already know.
So would those be considered the wolves in sheep clothing?
Yes, you can also call them that. See, it's a lot of things he even told us,
Yeah.
but we don't want that in, because that end identify everybody for who they are. And we don't want to go in that end because we want to be blind out here. We don't want to see truth. We don't want to see spirit and truth. We don't want to understand spirit and truth. We don't want no light.
Yeah, he spoke on that as well. He spoke on blind leading the blind, as well as people heaping teachers into themselves and itchy ears. And so I think he definitely touched on that. Basically us satisfying our flesh and living in a way that satisfy how we want to live here on the earth, and not necessarily taking heed to what will come after that, basically.
Okay.
And so basically there's people here that's just here to live.
but they're here to die.
Yeah,
because they are and they are walking dead. That's where they get. Why do you think that this man, he knows about the movies all on the four corners? Every country got Walking Dead. They got movies. They got series.
And so not in, you're speaking in the spiritual realm, not in the. What I'm saying is you're not literally
the natural
you're
mimic.
Not,
the spirit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So and a lot of people would go over a lot of people's head, because like the scribes, and in Jesus' time, like the scribes, like the holy people, like the philosophers, like it went over their head. They'll watch the the movies that gives you clues on what's going on and whatnot, and it'll go over their head just like it did with them, because they're not looking at it in a spiritual.
It's not so much as they're not looking at just the spirit. They dead. Dead is what he said when he created everything. And then right in the beginning, he told us. He told Satan and he told us. There's two kind of people on the earth. Not 3, not 4, not 5. You either dead or you living. You either spirit or you flesh. You either walk in the spirit or you walk in the flesh. This is why you have dark and light. This is why they switch dark and light. They made dark light and light dark. They took sweet and made it bitter and called bitter sweet. They switched right and made it wrong, and wrong made it right. So just because we as the flesh, the sun didn't switch, the animals didn't switch everything, flesh did it. And then we question his ability to be all that and some, and because he don't come to deliver us in our sin, in the midst of our wrongdoing and wronging him, what do you think it will feel like? Let me just put you in this situation. What do you think it will feel like if you created everything in the world, from the tiny ant, to every bird in the heavens, and everything look at you and deny that you have any power, that you have any authority, that you have any say-so, that you don't have no feelings, you don't have no mood swing. I mean, you don't have no feelings, you don't have no emotions toward all this stuff that's going on. Who do you think created it? If he created everything, he knew the outcome of it. That's why everybody want to run around here and teach he's the beginning and the end. How you going to teach he's the beginning and the end, and you only respect him to the level of what you want to receive him as, but not look at him as the beginning and the end? He's created everything that we see. Just imagine if you created everything. When you create everything, do you know you own everything? Do you know that if he created everything, that means everything that you see, that you think that you made or you done, couldn't have been done unless he himself, the Father himself, who knows what? The beginning and the end. He the one put things in the way, he moved things out of the way. He's the one that has life, and he's the one that has death. Anybody that holds the beginning and the end, and people question that, they can have an end tomorrow. Since you want to question, he ain't all this and he ain't all that. When you get your tail sick and on that deathbed, like Farrakhan did, Farrakhan told him, Farrakhan was so sick, it was said someone poisoned him. Joseph, he was so sick, Farrakhan came out of that Islam and began to call on the Most High, the true creator. And he gave his testimony that he cried out to him. Not as he knew him in the Islam belief. He said he had to come out of that to be able to get the blessing that he prayed to the Father, to the true and living Most High. And he said, if you can just get me out of this and give me more time to live, I'll change. And guess what? He brought Farrakhan out. And did you know Farrakhan was doing really good? He began to give the glory to the Most High Yah. He wasn't talking about Muhammad. He was giving the glory to the Most High Yah. This is where he really started identifying Yeshua, which the world called Jesus, and Christ. This is when he started identifying, when he was at his deathbed. But the moment he's where he's at today, he still teach and speak about Yeshua HaMashiach, which the world called Jesus Christ, but not at the level of how he delivered him from a deathbed. He's going to be here, pass away, and have the whole mass multitude fallen into a dark alley, which is the Islams, the Muhammad. Farrakhan is sending all these melanated men down a dark tunnel when he's gone, but have no idea all the blood that's on his hand, that Yah gonna hold him liable for. One thing you don't want to leave is the multitude down a dark tunnel, because all of their blood, you gonna be held accountable. They gonna pay the price, but you gonna be held still accountable. So while people are sitting here talking about, and you're right, you had a good point earlier today about how a lot of people believe that this creator ain't who he is said to be. And all these people around here trying to make him something that he is not.
Right.
It's because they got to fulfill their dark purpose. So they doing good. And that's how Satan was able to deceive the whole world. It's through deception. So when you hear them saying that, it ain't that they don't believe that there's a creator. Matter of fact, let me tell you something. They believe in him more than you. They believed in him more than you. To the point they doing everything to counteract what he doing in this day. Even if they got to make sure they get together with another COVID shot or another movie to show you what they doing. Everything that's being done under the sun today is to deceive those that are left, so they too won't ever come back to dry land. And I think they're doing an excellent job.
So would you say being in a religion,
Mhm.
that's not it's not effect it doesn't play a part in who goes to heaven or whatnot. So you just talk about Islam, you could talk about Christianity, Jehovah Witness, uh, Hinduism, Buddhism, and so on and so forth. But if you don't know the truth or believe in the truth,
Mhm.
regardless of what religions you follow or subscribe to, it's not what they think it is.
But
It's
then
not.
they could say to you and I,
Uh-huh.
what is truth?
And then what did God say truth is? Because God is truth. It's something that is eternal. Because, like I said, when you start to describe truth, it starts to sound like we're describing God. For example, if I go home,
Mhm.
punch a hole in the wall,
Mhm.
and you don't know about it, the truth still stands that I punched a hole in the wall, whether you know about it or not.
Mhm.
And whether the world blows up tomorrow, everybody's gone. The truth still stands in a place where, regardless of whether there's, a human being here to comprehend what truth actually is or
Yes.
not, it still exists.
Mhm.
And so it sounds like something eternal when you start to describe truth. And then you hear people say it all the time. They throw up their hands and they say,
Surrender.
"Oh, yeah," they surrender and they say, "It is what it is,"
Mhm.
because that's them surrendering to truth. I can't change it. I accept it.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
Mhm.
And so basically, when you describe truth, it is what was
Mhm.
and what is and is to come, whether you understand
Understand
that
it
or
or
not,
not.
and
Mhm.
whether you know it or not.
Mhm.
And so that's what I would tell them as far as truth.
Mhm.
It's not a if we had to follow a religion, it would be truth
Truth.
and
Mhm.
not Christianity, not this or
Exactly.
not that.
Mhm.
Because I think you would agree, but you could correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
If you honestly follow truth,
Mhm.
you're on the right path. But you could be in a religion and follow those traditions, follow the guidance of your leaders and
Mhm.
whatnot, um, and just not be on that right path.
Mhm.
But if you truly and honestly, in all honesty, follow truth,
Mhm.
and that's the path you're on,
Mhm.
and that's the path you're destined for.
Mhm.
Um, that is what you're supposed to be following, not tradition, not religion,
That's right.
not to hold a title
Mhm.
and whatnot. And I believe that's not something. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. God is looking for. He's
Mhm.
not looking for Christians. He's not looking for, um, you know, uh, Hinduism or Hindus
Him-
or Buddhas,
Titles and
and that we're supposed to be truth seekers.
Mhm.
And so I brought that up because I heard something from Hinduism, something in their text,
Mhm.
and it was something true. I can't
Okay.
remember what it said, but it was something true that to where I say, "Amen,"
Mhm.
or "Yeah, that's true." I'm
Mhm.
able to accept that
Mhm.
because I'm not under guidelines under a specific religion just because it's not coming from.
The standpoint of your religion
Yeah, if it's true, it's true.
is
And
true.
a lot of people like politics, for example.
Mhm.
You could look at Democrats and Republicans, and basically how you play politics is you always root for your side
Mhm.
in right and wrong. So once we do something on the Republic, for example, the Republican side
Mhm.
that we once deemed as wrong when the other side did it, we're now saying it's right because it benefits our standpoint and our agenda and where we're at today.
Mhm.
And so when you do play politics, that's what normally happens. They just they just root for or advocate for what benefits their party at the time.
Mhm.
Even though yesterday we was against it, but now
Now
it
today.
benefits us
Mhm.
to support this narrative or support this approach
Mhm.
because it brings the other side down, and that's the game a lot of people play even with religion. This is my set. This is who I subscribe to. This is who I represent: Christianity,
Mhm.
Muslims, yada yada. And they get so caught up in
Religion.
religion and they
Mhm.
forget to seek the truth.
Mhm.
They don't seek the truth, and they're so distracted by, they read the Bible, and that's why they read the Bible and they get what they get from it. and it's never the
Enough.
truth. It's
Mhm.
never the truth. It's they mislead themselves into believing this and that,
That's true.
and they're so distracted, and
Mhm.
they're never coming to the the truth.
True. And the thing about it, you said something, but I'm gonna need to expound on it, and that is truth.
Hmm.
There's when we understand that heavens has orchestrated everything in twos.
Yeah.
There's eternal
Hmm.
that is written, eternal life or eternal death. There is the kingdom and there is the lake of fire. Everything was already placed in one slot or the other. So there's twos.
Hmm.
When we come down here, you either from one of those slots or from the other.
Right.
So when we get down here, we have to see everything in twos. Why? Because heaven orchestrated it from the kingdom
Hmm.
by twos. So when he orchestrated it by twos, it's impossible for you and me and anybody to not accept it in the realm of twos, because it's like night and day.
Hmm.
How would you know that this is called night and this is night without day? How would you know what good is if there's not evil?
Hmm.
How would you know what hot is if there's not cold? So the way heavens willed and orchestrated everything, he did it so sharp. From the kingdom did he make the earth. And when he did it, he put everything exactly where it is eternal
Hmm.
before he even brought it to the earth. So what happens is we get down here and we can't even see ourselves being two entities, which you are flesh and you are spirit. Kick that soul on out of here. Catholics start that mess. You either flesh or you spirit. There go twos.
Hmm.
Okay. When we speak of truth, there is for real two truth. There's a truth in the flesh and there's a truth in the spirit. You cannot find the truth in the spirit through the truth of the flesh, because the way the flesh see truth is not the way the spirits see truth. So everything is done in twos. Let's say wisdom. You and I have wisdom in our flesh, but we also have wisdom in our spirit.
Hmm.
The wisdom in our spirit take us to the level of the wisdom in our knowledge. And we have wisdom in our flesh. But the wisdom is and knowledge in our flesh cannot override the wisdom and knowledge that's in our spirit. Everything he did by twos. To where when it's all finished from the beginning and the end, he already know where everything has its eternal. Because he didn't do it on the earth.
Hmm.
He did it in the kingdom. Then he spoke it and said, let there be that which heavens had already orchestrated from that level. So everything that we do down here in the flesh, there's it's the same thing that's also in the spirit, but in the spirit realm it's the right way, and in the flesh realm it's the wrong way. That's
Hmm.
why flesh go to the grave and the spirit live eternal.
Hmm.
It's because the flesh is dead. Just like many people, spirits are dead. So are everybody's flesh. Or everybody is born to die.
Hmm.
That right there tell you everybody dead. It's because we all going to come in and we all going to go back to the grave. But what is it about us that lives forever? Our spirit being.
Hmm.
And if we don't work on the truth that's in that spirit being, then therefore we are confused. We lost.
Yeah.
Never take the weight of the flesh. Always go for the weight of the spirit. In the weight of the spirit is called spirit and truth. The only light that you can hold of the Father is the light that's in your spirit, not the light in your flesh, because your flesh don't have a light.
Hmm.
So we're down here trying to live the flesh and get the pleasure of the flesh. and we are totally anorexium in the spirit. We are not feeding the spirit spiritual food. It's no way you can survive in the spirit for eternal with the kingdom of the Father without spiritual food. You see, but we're busy feeding that flesh to the utmost. And we anorexium in the spirit. That means we're dead in the spirit because we give no food to the spirit. But what's more important? The food for the spirit. Because if you nourish your spirit and give it what it needs, which is the spirit and truth and the light that gives you the way and the direction to walk in this spirit, then guess what? You're good. That's that truth that you spoke of just now. That's that truth. No matter what truth, that's a spiritual truth. It's not like the natural truth.
Right.
It's totally different because I can drop this pen and that's the truth. I dropped it. But that pen being dropped has no spiritual significance to it.
Right. So it's a worldly truth.
It's a worldly truth. When
Truth.
you come down to wisdom, you got wisdom. I got wisdom in the flesh, worldly.
And so the concept is it safe to say the concept of the two is the same? For example, you saying you got to feed the spirit. A lot of people aren't feeding the spirit. It's anorexia, right? So the same concept, you bring it to a worldly perspective. For example, what happens if you don't feed your flesh like worldly food? It gets weaker. And it dies slowly, and to the point to where it dies, or it's not able to.
But which one of them is more significant? Which one?
The spirit, of course.
Right.
And so, with the concept, so it's same concept, but a lot of people would rather feed the flesh versus spirit, to where, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So is it the same concept? Is it safe to say it's the same
totally
concept?
different because one is eternal and one is temporary. So they, even though it can be the same in how the body dies if you don't feed it, but the body gonna die even if you do feed it.
Yeah.
So you see, it's some things you just can't compare to the spirit realm, because the spirit stands so far distance as the north is to the south. It's no connection, and that's how we have to see it. Because if we find a connection, if we take the spirit realm and find a connection to the spirit realm versus the flesh realm, then it's all in vain. We have to be able to separate the spirit realm from the flesh realm and see the difference, because the spirit realm is eternal. It can't match up with the way of the flesh. Now, let me show you an example. Right here today, the way people teaches commandments and the laws, okay? They can't even grip that the spirit of the Most High has his own law, commandment. See, and they take the commandments and the law of the flesh and try to apply it to the law of the spirit. No, because the law of the spirit is subject to forgive you. But do something. Take your butt out there and try to rob something and see if the law of the world gonna forgive you. But the law of the spirit of the Most High, he is subject to forgive you. That's why we can't take the ways of the flesh and even give it any type of comparison in the spirit, because the spirit is way beyond the understanding to where the flesh can't even comprehend it. He say that the light shineth in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, but the darkness comprehended not. It's showing you the light, which is your spirit, that your own flesh won't even comprehend. So if the flesh can get away with, like using the same concept, it can win over everybody, probably pretty much what it has, because people are not looking at things over in the spirit realm, and that you can't compare the two. Understanding like I was explaining to you, the understanding that you have in the flesh. You can get a PhD, you can be a science, you can be whatever you want, but it'll never outride somebody like me in the spirit, because the spirit knows beyond this. You see, this is limited to the flesh, only to the flesh, but the spirit can override the flesh and the spirit. You get what I'm saying? That's the difference in the spirit. That's why he says, seek ye the kingdom first. That means the spirit realm. Because when we down here cutting up and acting a fool, guess where it's all coming from? The realm of the spirit is where it was all created. You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
So anybody have any questions in the live chat? If you have any questions, just put them up. If you have anything that you would like to say, or you have any questions, just pull up and we can answer those questions. If anybody have any questions, I think I was offline, Joseph, all this time. I was over in the corner. And the topic is also regarding why would Yah allow all these bad things to happen if he's supposed to be so loving, when we found out that there's no such thing as love. Just because man made the word love, they want to force that word on a creator. How do you know what a creator feels? Right. So why would you develop a word that matches the flesh, that gives the flesh the pleasure of feeling something in their emotions? How can we measure that word love to a creator that's a spirit? You see? But we can't accept give and gave. Everything he's done, it was based on what he has given and gave. So we can talk on that end 100%. But it's so much that's down here that is done in the natural, to where people can't understand what is in the spirit, because he was first spirit before anything natural. Okay, like you existed before the foundation of the world. So it's not what you are and what you about on the earth. It's who he assigned you to be in the kingdom before you got down here. That's what we need to be searching. Let me see. I can't even see. My light is too bright. I was trying to see if we had anyone that had any question. Okay. Understanding the fruit. What is that?
The tongue.
The fruits and what is that? Tongue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then seed.
Oh, okay. It said, do what I say, not what I do. That's what it was.
Oh, that's
what a parent's. Thank you. I couldn't see it from this distance. Thank you. That is so true. That's what we used to, not we, I ain't never said it, but that's what a lot of parents back in the days used to say. That's how they used to say it. I think I was out of the camera, Joseph, all that time.
I think you were in. I don't know.
I was in and out. Okay. But yes, we so did you cover? You got something on there to cover?
No. Hopefully next time we'll have we're able to share the screen, and we'll have more videos to play to respond to.
Okay.
But no, right now I don't have anything. But would you say to go along with what you're saying as far as things being predestined, basically, is that what he means when he say, or when it says, may thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven?
Yes. But do you know they read it, but they don't apply it, nor do they believe it.
Yeah.
You see, and you'd be surprised how many people do what they call the Lord Prayer. And he's telling us right there, that is a good example. He's telling us we got to understand the kingdom. Joseph, how do you know what is if you don't know what was? And this is what the world is built upon. What is at this moment? What is? No. They're right now today preaching and teaching that which is. But they don't even know what was. Because what was is what is and what shall be. But they have totally forsaken that which was. And that what That is what you call before heaven and earth was created. And like you said, that the Lord's Prayer in Matthew 6, you know, like it is on the earth as it is in the heavens.
Mhm.
And then Yeshua, which the world called Jesus, he said the same thing when Satan was tempting him. Bro, hey, what are you talking about? It is already written. It is written. Already letting him know. Well, what could this possibly be written at? In the kingdom. So Satan couldn't tempt him because everything is already written. And that's where you're able to know who's who and what's what. It's when people are able to respect the fact that this kingdom is all that and some. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all something. I would not question or go nowhere near the one that holds and owns the breath. All he has to do is say, Dad, go get my breath. And that's it. You see? So anybody that holds breath that we're down here living on, he snatched that breath. What do? You fall down and get ready for the cankerworms and everything in the earth. They're waiting for you anyway. They waiting for that flesh.
Yeah.
So we too have to understand that it ain't what earth think, feel, or understand. It's what heavens has already written. All right.
Yeah.
So Sister Deborah and Quiet Storm, this is Joseph. We're gonna be back again, and we're gonna find another topic to cover. And we want to say I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in this evening. And I will say to you all, we will be back. And you all have a wonderful evening.
See you next time.
All right.
All right.
Shalom and shalom.